Hello, welcome to Cadwell Park. I'm Michael for BikeSocial. And Cadwell Park is owned by MSV, as are Brands Hatch, Donington, Snetterton, Alton. And they've reported that over the last 7 or 8 years, they've seen a 50% increase in track day activity. Track day bookings, track days themselves have been booked out long in advance. And they're doing more, they're doing days, they're doing evenings, they're doing 4 or 5 a week, if not more. And that means, well, clearly track days are becoming more and more popular. There's more and more popularity with bikes. And there's a bigger budget on show as well. You can walk around here in the paddock or any pit garages at your local track day and you can see equipment that's worth tens of thousands of pounds. Equally, you can see equipment that's worth hundreds of pounds. And in this video, we're going to be looking at all the different options you can look at for doing a track day on a budget. So if you've never been to a track day before, well, even if you're a regular track day visitor, it can still be pretty intimidating looking around the pit garages or around the paddock, because there are no pit garages here at Cadwell, and seeing all of the machinery on show. You've got ex-world superbikes, you've got sports bikes that have been converted into race bikes, you've got people who race in club championships. You might even find a racer or two from the British Superbike Championship. But the fact is there's R1s and there's Fireblades and there's GSXRs and there's all sorts of incredible race machinery here. They've had thousands spent on the remapping and decatting, and they've got slick tyres and wet tyres and different wheels and tyre warmers and paddock stands and all sorts of stuff. You know, tens of thousands of pounds on show. On the flip side, you can get a 20-year-old ZX6, you can get a CB500, and they're going to cost hundreds, not thousands. And the people who are riding those on track are having just the same amount of fun. So whether you're buying a CB500 and you're traveling in a hire van, or whether you've got a little single trailer, or whether you're riding here to a track on your road bike, you drop the tyre pressures, you fold the mirrors in, away you go. All right, there's a bit of danger there. You know, what happens if you run off track or do a bit of damage? You're still going to get it home. So there are plenty of options if you're looking to do a track day on a slightly more restricted budget, or if you're looking just to dip your toe in the water just to see if you like it. So whether you want to bring your own road bike along, or whether you want to invest in a cheaper track bike, or if you want to invest in hiring a bike, there's several different options. So we're here at Cadwell Park today on a Bennetts Track Day. We're also going to be visiting Donington Park, and we're going to talk to a different selection of people just to find out what their experiences are like. I think I might even have a go on the hire bike scene as well. Stay with me. I'm here with BikeSocial member Gary. Gary, welcome.
Thank you.
So this is not your normal track day bike that you'd find in a paddock at most track days, and like we were just talking about off camera, the point of this film is to try and make track days more inclusive. But you've got a cross tourer. Why do you want to bring it on track?
It's the only bike I've got. I'm now too old to ride my Jigsaw. I got rid of it 2 years ago. Bought this, never done a track day, and thought, oh, why not?
Why not? Exactly,
Yeah.
It's the best way forward. And are you familiar with track days? You've done track days on your Jigsaw, have you?
No, we never did a track day on the Jigsaw. I've done one on this bike. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It'll keep up with anything on the straight. It's maybe not so agile around the bends, but
perfect.
Yeah.
Have you had this bike long? Is it your regular road bike, is it?
It's a regular road bike. Yeah, I've had it about 3 years now. I bought it so I can just ride it all day and get off still feeling fresh. So I'll finish today feeling fresh. And
did you ride it here today?
I rode it here today, yes. Yeah, and I'll ride it back home afterwards, hopefully.
Yeah, well, so that's the next question, really. Does that ever cross your mind, anything like that?
It does, yes. Yeah, without a doubt. It's in the back of your mind when you tip it in a corner, and it just makes you be probably that little bit more careful. Yeah.
What are your tactics then? Do you go out? Do you go out at the back of the group, or do you mix it up, or do you?
No, I just mix it up and just ride to enjoy.
Yeah, but it's good fun when you're overtaking some people on track bikes.
Oh yes, yes.
That's the intention.
Yeah,
brilliant. Well, thanks so much for joining us, and enjoy your day.
Okay, thank you.
This is BikeSocial member Lara off of Lara Moto. Lara, your R6 looks rather resplendent, but it's still 14 years old, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Do you mind me asking how much you paid for it?
Absolutely. So I paid a rather good price of £4,000 for it.
Brilliant. So as a package, as a track-ready package, £4,000, you know, it's a decent sum, isn't it? It's an all right amount of money to spend on a bike that you can take out on track. And tell us, first of all, really, your experience of riding. You've raced, haven't you?
I have, yes. I've done a few years of racing, but in reality I had a CBR 600F. I started doing a few tours on it. It's my first big bike about 2012, 2013, and then I booked my first track day at Mallory Park because I wanted to learn more about what my bike could do in a safer environment. I had a bit of instruction which helped, so I ended up ticking a lot of the UK track days, Donny, Bedford, Cadwell, just riding my CBR 600F to the track. Keeping it upright and taking lessons and learning. I picked up a couple of CB 500s and started racing with Thundersport GB. Now again, CBs are a great bike to learn on because clearly not all about the power. They do about 50 brake and it's all about corner speed and learning what I'd call racecraft or trackcraft. And it's taught me so much about what you can really do on a corner rather than just relying on ascending it. And then that led to a little bit of racing on a Ducati Super Twin, which was a Ducati Monster in a 1098 frame, and nice. So 1098 fairing, and that was a great laugh. That was a good bike for me. And then I took a couple of years out, just finances really, and then now we're back on with the R6, which I'm hoping to race this year. Brilliant.
What have you done so far? Did it come like this, or have you done stuff with it?
It needed a little bit of work. So at 4K, it was pretty basic, but what it did come with was upgraded Öhlins front and the TTX rear. It's got an upgraded Brembo master cylinder and rather conveniently a gear position indicator, super helpful. And all I've done is just freshen it up. And put some track tyres on it, and then the other half painted the fairing for me, and I smashed Lara motor all over it. And then she's ready to rock and roll. Needs a little bit of a dyno run, a little bit of tweak, a bit of a dead spot at 10, but other than that, good, sorted.
You mentioned a really good point actually about using track days and using if you road bike or a bit more of a budget bike to learn the capabilities of the bike in a safer environment than on the road, right? So it's a really good idea. And, in terms of advice, you'd say to people presumably go out and just learn what your bike can do and presumably get some instruction as well.
Yes.
That's a bit of a key, right?
So a lot of people are really scared about track days because they think they're going to bin their bike. And the reality is when you go out on the road, you are subject to a phenomenal amount of risk that you deal with perfectly well. You go out on a Sunday for a nice lap and you come home safe. What a track day offers you is a totally free, much safer environment. You can explore the extent of how your bike can pull or decelerate, and you learn how to really use the brakes in a way there isn't two-way traffic. There aren't sheep waiting in the road when you turn around for a blind corner or up the rear of a tractor. And if you go into, I think what's quite fascinating about today, or doing a Bennetts day in particular, is that track days are getting a lot more densely populated. There's an income to be made out of these things, and there isn't that much time for you to get your space on the track. What I found about today is that it's actually it's quieter and respectful, and there's time to build up your confidence no matter what level of rider you are. So if you're a novice and you're worried about it, what you can take out of things like today with the support, the BSB guy with from Kawasaki and the suspension specialist, and just a welcome environment. It's just a great place to grow in confidence that you won't learn on the road. Plus there's been instructors today, which has helped massively. There was one guy looking after, there was one guy that's actually been really helpful today, and I've learned a lot from him, so it's been good.
Fantastic. Of course, if you don't want to invest in your own track bike or bring your own road bike to the circuit, then one of the best solutions here, especially on a Bennetts Track Day, is you can hire a bike. And the Moto Events Group have been running for 6 years now, offer a Yamaha track experience. Tell us about what one can do. So if I had never ridden on track before, I didn't have any kind of experience, or if I had no track bike, there's all sorts of different packages you offer, right?
All the little small obstacles to doing a track day for a beginner, we take care of all, take them all out the way. The riding kit, leathers, boots, gloves, helmet, the bike, tyre warmers if you need them, the full setup. You literally get out of your car with your driver licence, we do everything else. The Valentino for the day. On the bike, ride it, and get off.
Even the track day place,
Yep,
it's
track day place,
all covered, isn't
everything.
it? And you offered several different types of bike as well, don't you, for different levels of experience, right?
We have the R6, we will have the R7 towards the end of this year, the R1, the MT range, and the Nikon, for anybody who wants to try something a little bit different.
So it doesn't matter how experienced you are, does it?
No.
Really?
Complete beginner, never done a track day before, we'll take them right through, full hand holding, as much or as little as you want. You could just bike, do your own thing, or we can take you right through the full lot.
Can you hire the bikes for individual sessions?
Yes, we do session hire at events where we are. That's on a daily basis, dependent on availability. So if you wanted to try one of the Yamahas out, we can do that for you.
What about swapping between the bikes? So if you find yourself riding the R6 in the morning, could you progress to an R1 in the afternoon? Or
you can upgrade. If we have the MTs with us, you can jump on pretty much anything we've got with us. If you want to move around, if we can accommodate it with the sessions, not a problem.
And there'd be a different cost to assume depending on which bike you wanted to use for the day.
They do vary. If you'd booked the R6 experience and wanted to ride an MT, there'd be no extra charge. If you'd booked the R1 experience, you can ride anything we've got with us.
Fantastic. And these are completely standard road bikes? You just got it looks like you've got a bit of crash protection on there, and you've obviously taken the mirrors off.
Yeah, we upgrade the tyres to more stickier than stock with the fast road track day tyre or the race tyre, depending on the spec of the R6. Right through the range, crash protection, but apart from that, they're a completely standard brand new bike. So there's no surprises, no bodges, no fixes. Everything genuine Yamaha parts, exactly as you expect it.
Fantastic. So all you need to do is get to the website.
That's it. On the website, you can book all the information there. You can book, get in touch with the email. Any questions, we'll be happy to answer.
Fantastic. Yeah, brilliant. There's your other options then. So if you don't want to bring your own bike, or if you don't want to invest in a track bike, why not hire? So we've come along to one of the pit garages here at Donington. We found Neil Allen. Neil's a BikeSocial member. Neil, welcome. This is not your first day, is it? Your first track day ever?
No, I've probably been doing track days for maybe 10 or so years, on and off. Just usually a couple every year. I can wheel a bike out and it'll kind of go, and I don't have to worry about it, and just turn up and go.
Is that the idea by having a CB500?
Yeah, trust the old bike. This is actually my dad worked for a rider training school, so these were the training bikes, and he kind of inherited one, and this was probably on 45,000 road miles, and obviously the race series with Thundersport kind of kicked off, and there's loads of parts available, so it does the job for me as someone who's going to do 2 track days a year, so yeah, it's all good.
I guess that's the whole point, isn't it? Just, it kind of proves the fact that you don't need to be spending tens and tens of thousands of pounds on bike and kit and equipment. You can easily turn up on something like this.
Yeah, and I mean these for me run with the same tyres for years. These are still an old BTO 990s. The flat bars we put on recently, they cost 20 quid. Everything else, as you can see, is pretty, it looks rough and ready, and it is in comparison to lots of well-prepped bikes here, but still the same amount of fun as everyone else when they get out there.
So you whip out the van, put a bit of fuel in?
Pretty much, yeah. It's probably old fuel from last year, to be honest. I haven't done many laps today, but yeah, it's kind of not much to it, but I don't have to worry about it, really, and preparation is minimal.
Just the epitome of having a bit of track day fun on a really minuscule budget.
Yeah, and previously I've had other track bikes, and I've done some on my R9T road bike, but this, because it's cheap and doesn't owe me much, I'm not too concerned about going out and riding it in the rain at Donington today.
Good stuff. Enjoy the rest of your day, mate.
Thank you very much.
So we found Bex, who races. You tell us about it, Bex. You've got this new SV650 for the year, haven't you? And you've kind of modded it a bit. But so this is a track-only bike, but to your spec. What have you done to it so far?
So I picked it up and it had some stuff done. It already had a different shock on it, but the original shocks of them are quite good as well. They're not brilliant if you want to go racing, but they're still perfectly good for track. We've done little bits just to make it nice, like pretty colour brake lines and things like that. Yeah, it's getting there. The clip-ons, the track fairings. I picked the front one up second hand, things like that.
There's a lot of forums, aren't there, and Facebook groups all about track days and about racing, where spares are available, second hand, and it makes it easier for.
Especially like the SVs, there's a massive scene for them of getting them on track because they've got a nice bit of power, but they're not too powerful, so they're not too aggressive, not too scary. They're a perfect learner track bike, and because you're missing that power, they'll teach you to corner more and stuff like that. But there's loads of spares, there's loads of people that are selling them, breaking them, got bits for them, and even if you're buying new, bits are quite cheap. You can pick up, I think the rear sets are £50 for a set, something like that, £50-60, and you can just pick up some, and if something happens, it's not the end of the world.
It's just a great way to go track daying, isn't it? Brush the racing aside for just a second, but if you're looking for a track purposed bike, it's a really great way to be able to, I guess, build up your knowledge of engineering and build up your knowledge of what parts or components you need to kind of enhance your track day experience too, right?
It wouldn't be the end of the world if you had a stock road one that you bought and you tracked it. And then you could just, if you wanted to get it more track orientated, you could then tweak little bits, and you don't have to go the full load if you want to. It just depends how far you want to go with it. I've tracked road bikes that were road bikes, MOT lights, everything on them, and it's still great fun. And you can pick up cheap bikes and just do a few bits on them, just make sure your brakes work, and they're brilliant. You can just go out and have loads of fun, and because they're cheap, you don't have to worry about what happens. Hopefully nothing. But yeah, they're brilliant. You can pick up so many different things that are just brilliant for track.
Yeah, awesome. And your plan is to race this, is it?
Yes, but we'll see how we go with that. That's why it's a bit of a not quite there yet. It's in the process of being turned into a race bike.
Any advice you'd give to anybody who's looking at buying a track bike?
There's always loads of people at track days that will help you out. There's always usually a tyre person, a suspension person, spares parts, and there's always people that know what they're doing. There's always instructors to help you with your riding. There's so many people that will help you, so you don't have to worry about what if I don't know this, what if I don't know that, what if I don't have this. People will always go out of their way to help you. You don't need to have paddock stands, tyre warmers. There are plenty of people that ride there, ride the track, ride home.
Cool, thanks for your time. Enjoy the rest of your day. So we're here with Lee, BikeSocial member Lee, who's Lee, thanks for letting us have a poke around your motorbike. Now, it didn't look like this, did it, 6 months ago? Tell us the story.
So I bought it Christmas time. It was a road bike, but it was a rough road bike. So I bought it knowing that I was going to put a load of track fairings on it.
Yeah. It's a GSXR 750.
GSXR 750 K4.
Do you mind me asking how much you paid for it?
I paid £2,000 for it.
Yeah.
They're going for a bit more than that, tidy ones, but it wasn't very tidy, so I managed to get it for good money. And then it just the spending began.
It can be an addictive hobby, can't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
Once you start, you're like, oh, I just need some of those and some of that and one of those.
But most of it was the guy that looks after my bikes, my road bikes as well. He sort of stripped it back and he said, the bike was good, it was all fine. Bits of the fairing were broken anyway, because at first I thought I'll just run it as it looks, but it was all hanging off. So yeah, and then it began. So track fairing, a couple £100. I can't remember where I got it from. Sprayed it myself in my cellar recently.
Saved you a few quid there at least.
Well, maybe, yeah. and that's it really. It's apart from that, it's set of tyres, obviously, things like that. The only expensive bit was the fairings and the grips, the grips and stuff. Yeah. Got a good bargain from the BikeSocial.
Excellent. Well, thank you. I didn't even have to pay you to say that. Well done.
And that's it really. Yeah, that pads, and apart from that, it's as it was really.
So why did you want to have a track bike of your own? Why did you want to buy? So it's a road bike, wasn't it? And then you converted it.
It's still road legal actually, but it's I had a Fireblade last year. I came here to Cadwell on my road bike, and I commute a lot, sort of 1,500-1,600 miles a month probably, and I found myself getting quicker and quicker and quicker, and I was just thinking, if something goes wrong or anything like that, I've got to ride this to work on Monday, that kind of thing, So I just started looking around for a good option, and this kind of came up at the right time really. It could have gone for anything really, but so this was it. So it's more about saving my road bike for the road, really.
And you've got a bit addicted now, have you?
Yeah, very. yeah, it is addictive.
I'm not going to hold you up because you're due on track in a minute.
I am any second, yeah.
Appreciate your time. Thanks
Thank you
very much, buddy.
Cheers, thank you.
So there you have it. Your options are, well, not endless, but there are several of them. So whether you want to ride your own road bike here to a track, whether you want to invest in a track bike or even a road bike that you can convert yourself. Of course, there's the hire bike option we looked at as well. Don't feel too intimidated by the guys with the big budgets and the impressive machinery. Track days are for anyone. Get involved. Thanks for watching. See you next time. And if you've got any comments, any queries, any thoughts about the matter, then let us know in the comments below. Your turn next. There's several different options, and in this video we're going to take a little bit look at